Good morning, Dan.
The lungs of the planet, as the Amazons are referring to, are currently burning at a record rate. I mean, this is bad.
No, it is. It's terrible news for the climate. As you said, it's terrible news not for the whole world, but also here in South Africa as well. What this effectively does is that it exacerbates climate change. It adds more carbon dioxide to the air. It prevents carbon dioxide from being absorbed by all the plants in the Amazon. And so it's just going to make the matter worse and worse. And so we'll see more fires. And it has a direct impact here on us in
What
South
kind
Africa.
of impact is that?
Well, since 2015, we've had drought across a large part of this country.
Yeah, we saw in the Western Cape, for example.
Western Cape, but also in the Northern Cape and the Eastern Cape. And this has been going on for many years, 4 years or so. It's precisely because of climate change. And I was there in May. I went down to the Northern Cape. And what I saw, it's a very underreported story, is I saw commercial agriculture collapse. So emerging farmers, commercial farmers, small-scale farmers were simply abandoning their farms.
And this was in the Northern Cape, and this was due to climate change.
So when we have fires burn in the Amazon, and really those fires are burning because of right-wing policies in
Now that's the
Brazil.
point, because environmentalists and conservationists like yourselves are blaming the government of Jair Bolsonaro for the Amazon's plight. But he in turn is blaming organizations that deal with the environmental, say they've started the fire in the rainforest, but he has no, he has no evidence.
Well, I mean, he doesn't have any evidence, but what we do know about the Brazilian situation is when they had left-wing governments, rates of deforestation, rates of burning, rates of exploitation for agribusiness of the Amazon were declining year upon year upon year. So Brazil had the situation.
So
in the
this
right
government of Bolsonaro is reversing that trend,
Yes, no,
from
it is.
what we're hearing.
of massively reversing it.
But why are they doing that? Why are they encouraging farmers and loggers to bend down the Amazon for industrial and agricultural purposes? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I think you've answered your own question, Dan. It's money. It's as simple as that. You know, people can make money off this.
So it's all commercial interests that are
There's
driving
commercial
this.
interest, you know, and poverty. You know, poverty also.
It's very.
drives
It
the
seems to be
push
very.
for
It
this.
seems to be very short-sighted to me, because we're all going to lose in the end, isn't it?
Yes, but we're doing something similar here in South Africa. We're opening new coal mines, for example. So, that's also a contributor to climate change. So, to just point the finger at Brazil, we also have to look at ourselves in the same mirror. Yeah.
Fine. But overall, now I hear that the largest state in Brazil, Amazonas, has declared a state of emergency on Monday.
Yes.
Things are really bad.
No, they're bad. It's terrible.
What was disappointing is that the government in Brazil is saying they don't have the resources to stop the fire. So what are we going to do?
Oh, it's a very big area. There's also been fires burning in Russia. It's also considerable. About half of our carbon dioxide emissions are coming out of those fires. Again, there's not much you can do, really. And that's the problem. Once a rainforest or a big Siberian forest starts to burn, this huge scale of it, there's not terribly too much you can actually do. And that's the problem with climate change. These things happen. They add more carbon dioxide. That means the Amazon dries out a little bit more, it burns more, it adds more carbon dioxide, and we have more and more drought.
And there's the drought, there's no water, there's no life, there's
Exactly.
no agriculture, there's no food on the table.
Yes.
In the end of it.
Yeah.
That's really how bad it can get.
Yeah. So this is, I've been involved in climate change for quite a long time.
Yes.
And the stuff that we're seeing now is what people would say about 10, 20 years from now. So we're actually seeing the process accelerating according to worst case scenarios. So this is very serious news. What's happening in Brazil affects the entire
Well,
planet.
that's why we have you in the studio,
Yeah.
because we're talking with the team to say this is a big international story.
This is the moment for panic. Let me put it that way.
Sorry?
This is the moment for panic.
Now, moment for panic, and there's very little you can do once the forest burns, and it's going to take decades for any forest. It takes any decades for any forest to recover.
About a century.
Over time. Sorry?
Century.
Century.
those topics.
Now, besides the carbon dioxide and all these gases that now are in the air, on the ground itself, there's a lot of life that's being destroyed.
Yeah, biodiversity is a big issue in the world. It's happening now. This is why we need to actually do something about global carbon emissions. Again, people have been talking about this since 1992. I've been talking about it for a very long time. You've been talking about it. ENC has been talking about it. South African government has been talking
But
about it.
that's not enough, eh?
Talk
It's not
Just
helping.
talk. You know, it's actual actions need to happen on the ground.
Yeah. Besides the Amazon, you said another forest is burning in Russia?
In Russia and also in North America as well.
And we here are contributing to this air pollution through our coal-fired power stations.
We are. I mean, that's the simple fact. I mean, we know it. And if we want to, like every other country in the world, solve this problem of carbon dioxide and these things like drought and burning of Amazon and ensure livelihood for our children, then we have to actually do some very hard things. And one of the hard things that we have to do is rapidly phase out coal. I mean, it doesn't get much more difficult than that.
And embrace renewable sources of energy. Thank you very much, Tristan.
Thank you very much, Dan.
For being with us this morning. An environmental expert there. Big news, of course, with more than 2,000 fires currently raging in the Amazon. Not good at all for climate change. The impact on us is going to be very devastating unless we change our attitudes and behavior on how we handle issues around energy.